ערבית. Here's the סידור. והוא רחום יכפר העוון ולא ישחית, וירבה להשיב אפו אדוני יושיע, המלך יעננו ביום קוראנו, ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד.
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר בדברו מעריב ערבים בחוכמה, פותח שערים בתבונה, משנה עיתים ומחליף את הזמנים, ומסדר את הכוכבים במשמורתם והקיע כרצונו, בורא יום ולילה, גולל לאור מפני חושך וחושך מפני אור, המעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ולילה, אדוני צבאות שמו. ברוך אתה אדוני המעריב ערבים, אהבת עולם בית ישראל עמך אהבת, תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים אותנו למטה, על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשורנו ובקומנו, נסיע בחוקיך, נשמח ונעלות בדברי תלמוד תורתך, ומצוותיך וחוקותיך לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו וברך ימינו בבני יומם ולילה, ואהבתך לא תסור ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב את עמו ישראל, שמע ישראל, אדוני אחד.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך ביום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברתם בם בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ושכבך וחומך, וקשבתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפו בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
והיה אם שמעו את שישמעו אל מצוותי אשר אנוכי מצווה אתכם היום, לאהבה את אדוני אלוהיכם ולעובדו בכל לבבכם ובכל נפשכם, ונתתי מתרצהם ביתו יורה ומוקש, ואספת דגדיך ותשירשיה ויצריה, ונתתי יסף ושדך לבחנתך והלכת וסבת, ינשרו להן בנפתי לבבכם ואספתן, ועבדתם אלוהים אחרים והשתחוויתם לכם בהרע. ושמתם את דברי אלה על לבבכם ועל נפשכם, ופשעתם נותן לאות על ידיהן, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניהן, ולימדתם אותן את בניהן, לדבר בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך, ושובך וחומך ובטחת על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למה ירבו ימיהן וימי בניהן על אדמה אשר נשבע אדוני לאבותיהן לתת להם כימי השמיים על הארץ.
Adam Sassoon, can you read Vayomer?
ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר בני ישראל ואמרת להם, עשו לכם ססיד על כנפי בדים לדורותם, ונתנו על ססיד על כנף בתיותיכם להביא לכם לססיד, וראיתם אותו וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם אחריכם אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוות הייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוציאכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
אמת, אמונה כל זו וקיימה עלינו, כי אדוני אלוהינו ואין זולתו, שם נפשנו בחיים ולא נתן למות רגלינו, עמד ריחנו, עמוד אל עמו ישראל מתוכם לחירות העולם, אמר ירבן אבי ישראל ים סוף, ראו בנים את גבורתו, שבחו והודו לשמו, ומלכותו ברצון, כי בנו עליהם משה בני ישראל לכנו שירה, בשמחה רבה, ואמרו כולם, מי כמוך בעלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, ונראתי לו מרזף אלה, מלכותך אדוני ומלך על הים, יחד כולם הודו לו, ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, כי ודע אדוני את יעקב, וכל אבן חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל, אשכבנו אבינו לשלום, והעמידנו מלכנו לעין טובים שלום, ופרסנו לזוגת שלומך, ותקננו מלכנו בעצה טובה מלפניך, והושיענו מהרה למען שמך, והגן בעדנו, והסר מעלינו מכה משחית ומגפה, ושמור צאתנו בינינו לחיים טובים, ולשלום מעתה ועד עולם, ברוך אתה אדוני, שומר את עמו ישראל לעד אמן. You can join me for Kaddish if you want. יתגדל שמי
רבה בעלמא דברך קירותי וימליך מלכותי ויצמח פורקנה וקרב משיחי וחייכון וביום אחד וחיי דכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב אמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם אמן. יתפאר וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קדושה בריחו לעילא מכל ברכתה שירתה תשבחתה ונאמתה דאמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן.
אמן.
שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך ברוך אתה אדוני. כן, ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם. ברוך אתה אדוני, אתה הקדוש.
I did see everybody. I don't know if I'm supposed to mute or unmute.
רפאנו אדוני ונרפאנו שעלינו. Shai, can you join me with the way you sang Shir LaMa'alot last time? A little better than me.
אני? מה פתאום? כן, בסדר.
שיר למעלות. שיר למעלות.
עיני להרים, מאין
יבוא
עזרי באדוני, עושה שמיים וארץ, אל יתן למות רגליך, אל ינום שומריך.
שי, תן לישראל להמשיך. ישראל, ¿quieres continuar? Unmute, yeah, ישראל.
הנה לא ינום ולא אישה שומע ישראל. השם שומרך, השם צילך על יד אביך. יומן השמש לא יכך בירח בלילה. השם ישמורך מכל רע, שמור את נפשך. השם ישמור צאתך ובואך, ואתה ועד עולם.
עד עולם. חזק וברוך. Adam, wants to join us for Kaddish. גדל.
יגדל ויתקדש, שמי רבי.
בעלמא דברך קירותי וימליך מלכותי ויצמח פורקנה וקרב משיחי וחייכון וביום אחד וחיי דכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב אמרו אמן. שמי רבה מבורך לעולם אמן. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתהלל שמי קדושה בריחו לעילא מכל ברכתה שירתה תשבחתה ונאמתה דאמירן בעלמא אמרו אמן.
אמן. Yeah. Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya B'Chaim Aleinu Yaakov Yisrael Yemru Amen.
Shalom.
Shalom Doma V'Yasna Shalom Aleinu Yaakov Yisrael Yemru Amen. Amen. Baruch Hu Et Adonai Yamavon.
Baruch Adonai אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים מעל ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד, על כן נקבלך אדוני אלוהינו לראות מהרה בשביעת עוזך. כתוב בתורתך אדוני ימלוך עולם ועד. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Hazaku Baruch.
תמצאו ערב טוב. We're staying tonight after our tefillah for a memorial service for their friends, family, Joe and Kitty Sassoon, Yosef ben Aharon Sassoon, and Khatun Batzalha, that I had the merit to know when I came to LA 20 something years ago, and got to know Adam and his parents and his family, and then Tracy, and the honor to do your wedding and accompany you. Was a long journey, and I had also the chance to see them last time. Not last time I visited, I think maybe it was 2 years ago when I visited, and I went to visit Joe and Kitty, and it was always a pleasure to see them. Adam and Aaron, I'm going to pass it over to you to start and lead, and when you would like me to talk or say something, I'll join.
Go ahead, dude.
Well, thanks for everybody for coming. Really appreciate it. This was just a way to get everybody together because we have a large family, but unfortunately, we are not in the same states, and with COVID, it made it very difficult for people to fly out because of fear of obviously getting COVID. So we put this together. I did with Adam in order to get some people together from our synagogue and from our family in Pittsburgh and Arizona. So we could get together and actually do what we normally would do while sitting Shiva, which would be to, reminisce and talk about my parents and what they meant to us.
We also wanted to say thank you because we've gotten a lot of support from our friends and family that are joining us this evening. From Rabbi Ovadia, from Rabbi Ben Zakane here in Los Angeles, and Rabbi Halevi and Saeed Jalali. They've been very supportive, but we also wanted to say thank you to Rabbi Ovadia for hosting the service and the after service Shiva. So thank you again.
That's all I could do. Yeah, sure.
Say something?
Yeah. Anybody that I could actually start. I mean,
yeah.
Just to say that just to give you a little bit of a timeline. My mom and dad both got sick at the same time and ended up 10 days in the hospital, and it was really difficult for the whole family because we couldn't see them in the hospital and we couldn't be with them, and that made it really difficult. And I think it's one of the things that this pandemic has created. This people get sick and then they're separated from their families, and they just have nurses around them who are doing an awesome job, but then again they're masked up and there's no personal, real personal contact, which made it all very difficult for us. Adam and I did get in to see, mom and dad on Monday night before my mom passed away on Tuesday afternoon at 1:00. So we spent about 3 hours there, but even then it was kind of difficult between the donning of the PPEs, personal protective equipment. So then we got another phone call about my dad, and it's, in a sense, it was meant to be that, they would go together. They were together for 80 years. I'm sure a lot of you have read the obituary. My dad was 15 and my mom was 17, and they fell in love while my dad was on his way to school with his brother. And since then they were together, and they were really never apart. I mean, I think when my dad was in the hospital, and then when they were both in the hospital, was really the only time that they ever had to spend some time separately. So the fact that they went together, I think that was a blessing, so that neither one of them had to suffer the loss of the other. So, I just want to say that, my mom and dad meant so much to multiple generations. I mean, obviously to their 3 children. I mean, they were always doting on us. My mother was constantly doing everything for us. I mean, she knit, she sewed, she cooked, and, she was really strong with us. And then my dad, I mean, he spent a lot of his time, after he retired, he devoted himself to the synagogue at Kahal, which, was basically, he gave a lot of himself to it. I think he did a great job. I mean, we often reminisce about when he was the president of that synagogue. It was a different place. It was full all the time, and the holidays were just so spiritual. And Rabbi Ovadia was there for part of it. Then Rabbi Ben Zaken was also there for part of it. And then, the way they were with their grandchildren was really amazing. I mean, my mother knit clothes for everybody. I mean, she just knit these beautiful sweaters, even for friends of mine. She knit for their children. It was, she was quite a woman. I was talking with one of their friends today, Lulu Steiner, and we were just reminiscing about all the things she did. She was never idle. Her hands were always clicking those knitting needles while she was watching TV, and if she wasn't doing that, she was baking something in the kitchen.
Oh, I got it.
She was fabulous. And my dad was great. I mean, he was just a great support. I often say this about my dad. He would get upset about little things that were probably meaningless, but when things were serious, he was very calm. And I know that in my childhood, that was really helpful for me. I mean, I do remember one time I was driving his brand new car, and I was coming home from a movie, and I got in an accident. And I was just terrified because I hit somebody else. It was obviously my fault. And I was so worried. He was, he came, he was there. And the first thing he said to me was, that's what we have insurance for. Really, you need to calm down. And it just, that was pretty much his style. And I love him for that. Anything? Adam?
See if someone else has anything to say. See if your sister has anything to say. Auntie Hanny, are you here?
Char?
Yeah, I'm here. I had to unmute. My mother was probably one of the strongest women I've ever known in terms of her inner strength. She often tells the story about how it was that we managed to come to this country. My father had run into an old friend of his from St. Paul's School, the one in the Himalayas, and he said, "So John, what are you doing with yourself?" And John said, "I just went to the US consulate and I'm going to America." So my father comes and tells my mother, and my brother was 4, I was 6 at the time, and says, "I just ran into John Martin and he's going to India." And my mother said, We are too. He's going to America. We are too. And she took me and my brother that day to the American embassy to get us visas to come to this country. She went to England first and she says, this place is too cold. I'm not staying here. February. Then we were in New York and this place is too cold. I'm not staying here. And on the boat to New York from England, we met another couple with 2 small children. And they said to my father, we're going to drive across the country. Do you want to drive with us? And we'll share expenses. So the 4 adults and 4 children got into a car and drove across the country to come to Los Angeles, where it was warm enough for my mother. And they started with nothing. And they left 33 descendants who absolutely adore them. I don't think that anybody could have been loved more. And when I see the love in the community and people who wanted to come and join us today, it makes me realize how wide their circle was. We were very fortunate. We were very fortunate to have had them as long as we did.
Hanny?
Yes.
She never talked about how you got from Calcutta to London. How was that train? Do you remember any of that?
A boat. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then I think the other thing that I would like to mention is for the first couple months that you were here in Los Angeles.
Oh my God, the Ezra family. The Ezra family was amazing.
Eddie Ezra and Doris?
Lived with Doris and Eddie Ezra. They had no children. And they took my parents and the 2 of us in, and they gave Mom and Dad their bedroom. They gave me and Adrian another bedroom, and they slept out on a couch for, it must have been 3 months.
Annie, who were they? Who were the Ezras?
The Ezras. Well, I think Lillian is there in today. They were a very large family in Calcutta that had been friends of my mother's family. My mother grew up with Lillian's mother, and Lily and I were born in the same hospital a few days apart. So there were, and Lillian, correct me if I'm wrong, there were 3 sisters and 3 brothers. And they were
my mother's family. There were
Yes.
10 of them. My mother's family, there were 10.
Okay.
That's right.
I knew
5 boys and 5 girls.
Joe, Eddie, Sass, and then there was Helen, Habu, Rama,
And there was David and Miriam that passed away when they were younger.
But
yeah,
the families were close for generations.
that's right.
And they, yeah.
Yeah, they actually, Mom always used to talk about how they took them to the furniture store. They got them set up in that apartment that they moved into. They didn't want them to move because they were going to miss them.
To the house across the street.
Yeah, 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 yeah. You know, it was really, it wasn't, you know, Mom, I think, was cooking while she was there.
Yeah, she was cooking.
So why would they want them to move? They have this lovely food every day.
That's right, Lulu.
Right. But I don't know, has our brother Adrian Abraham joined yet?
Yeah, he's on.
He is? Okay, he was having trouble with the Zoom. No. Well,
There it is. Yeah, we're here.
There he is.
Oh, okay, great. Adrian, do you want to say?
Hi.
Hi.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you very well. What?
Do you want to say something about Hannah and Jojo?
Just how much I love them so much for everything that they've done for us.
And any
Amazing,
memories?
amazing. What?
Memories that you have.
I got so many memories. It'll take forever to talk about them, but I just wanted to just thank them for everything they did for me. What? Did somebody say something?
I think it was Naomi.
Naomi.
What?
Naomi said something.
Oh, anyways, as I said, I had so many memories. It'll take me forever to talk about them. I'm going to miss them, and I love them very much, and everything they've ever done for me. When I was very young, I was diagnosed with jaundice, and my mother just went above and beyond to get me well again. And I will never forget all that they did for me. And I wouldn't be as strong as I am today if it wasn't for her and also my dad. He would go to the hospital and give blood in Burma for me to be alive. And that says it all right there. I mean, I would be non-existent if it wasn't for him. And when I was 8 years old, I was diagnosed again. And my mother would carry me on her back because I was not allowed to walk. And she would do her cooking in her house. I would never forget all that. I got so many memories. It would take me forever to talk about this. But they're my parents. What can you say about your parents other than, you know, they mean everything to you. I'm so sorry to see them go. I just wish that I was there at the time. But due to circumstances, I had to leave California and come out here.
I'm closed. It's closed?
Yeah.
What time you open?
11:30 to 5.
11:30 to 5. Okay,
Sorry,
thank you, sir.
I think that's what I have to say. I think I've said it all.
Yeah.
I just love them so much, and I'm going to miss them
Yeah,
more than anything in this world.
yeah,
More than anything.
when funny things happen and you want to share the story with them, you want to tell them about something. That's
And I can't tell them now.
Yeah.
Freddie, if you're there.
Yeah, that's exactly
Freddie?
right. I mean, the other day I was leaving synagogue after Shachrit in the morning with Adam, and you know, Ben Zakane has been so, you know, wonderful to me while I've been in there, and I just wanted to call Dad. I said, you know, but then I realized, you know, I had that feeling like I wanted to tell him, and then of course, you know, brings you back down to reality. But yeah, and oftentimes I get that feeling like, God, I'd just like to pick up the phone and talk to him for a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, it kind of makes it difficult.
Char, you're the firstborn grandson.
Yes, Nana would remind me of that all the time. Very fond of saying that. In fact, she would say, you are my first love, as though the three of you didn't count. It wasn't until I arrived. And I know it's not true, but it was sure good to hear. Made me feel good to hear it. I'll tell you, I was thinking about the time I spent in their house, and for a while it felt like I spent as much time in their house as I did in any of the houses we were living in. And there was one part of their house I was forbidden from. I was not allowed into JoJo's office. Absolutely, I could go anywhere else in the house. Absolutely forbidden was was JoJo's office. He was very strict about that. So every time when I thought no one was seeing me, I would sneak into JoJo's office, of course. And never was I ever caught. Not once in years of sneaking into that office was I ever caught in that office, and I could pick up the things on his desk and look at them and put them back and do all sorts of other illicit stuff like that. And it wasn't until I was an adult that I realized that every time he knew I was in there. Every time he knew. And he was just giving that to me, forbidding me on purpose, knowing that I was in there, and just waiting until I came out every time.
We should talk about the 4 weeks you spent.
Hello.
Hi, Freddie.
Hi.
Oh,
You
hey, Fred.
recognize me? I'm Fred. This is my wife, Gabby. We're joining you from Mexico City. And well, you know, if you'll permit me a few minutes, I'd like to share a few things about my Uncle Joe and Auntie Kitty. What they did was a life changer for us, because they were the one who worked really hard to sponsor us to be admitted to the United States. I have very few memories of them at 74 York Road in Rangoon. I just remember Hannah Banana. And my first memories of them were at the LA International Airport, first week of February 1957, where they picked us up. Hanny was there. I don't know if Adrian and Frankie were there, but
I was there. That's my earliest memory.
Where were you?
Yeah, you getting off the plane.
Yeah, with my little short
that's my
and
earliest memory.
Coat. They were absolutely wonderful. Once we got there, they made our transition into the States a lot easier. They found us apartments. They did everything. There are little things that I remember that are maybe insignificant, but I remember we lived next door to each other for a long time, and I would go there even when they were not there, to be with Hanny, to be with the cousins. And I remember that Grundig Majestic. Boy, did I love that. Do they still have it? If they have it, don't ever sell it. Don't ever sell it.
Adam has it.
Huh?
Adam has it.
Oh, it's a beautiful piece of furniture. And I used to go listen to his records as well as take mine. And boy, Uncle Joe, he had good taste. He had Eartha Kitt. He had Lena Horne. He had Peggy Lee, the Ink Spots, the Platters, you know. So I used to go and listen to his records and mine. And I'm somewhat of a car freak. And when I think about Uncle Joe lending me his brand new bright red Plymouth Fury to go on dates, it's amazing, because I don't even let my children lend my children my cars, you know. He was very, very generous. He was one of the most patient and calm persons that I know. I have never seen him get angry. I've never seen him get upset. Just amazing. And
that's because you didn't live with him.
No, we lived next door to each other. You know? And what can I say about Auntie Kitty? Wow, those Passover Seders. She was an excellent, excellent cook. The best chisamusas that you can have, Auntie Kitty made them. No matter when you went to her house, no matter what time of day, there would be the chisamusas in the freezer. She would take them out and she would offer them to you. She made the best mango pickle. I mean, homemade mango pickle. No? Char is saying, yeah. And halva, things that I haven't had in 30 years or more. And my first pizza was with them. Annie at the Gilmore Drive-In.
Right.
I've been a pizza freak since then.
Yeah.
my first dive into a swimming pool was with them, Seminole Hot Springs.
Right.
Remember it all? Remember
Right.
that?
I do. I do.
Anyway, I could go on, but they were very important to us. And well, may they rest in peace. Thank you.
It's nice to see you, Freddie. It really is. It's great.
Yeah, it's good. You look just like your
Gabby.
father. Wow. I thought I was looking at your dad.
Okay. Someone else?
I wanted to jot in, Adam, Frank, everyone for a second. Beautiful stories. Like Aaron said, Frank, I said, you know, in Kahal, I got to know them well, even after I left. Edna, my wife, reminded me that it was Joe, of all people, when we left the synagogue, who really took it to heart more than anyone and remained in contact more than anyone else. I mean, him and Mr. Ezra, but really, thinking of them as Joe has this, powerful frame, like strong person, and Kitty, it's like small, fragile woman, but she was the real power, right? When she would tell him what to do or not to do, and would respected the 100% with such tenderness and love. It was beautiful. I wanted, until the next person speaks, I wanted to chant something that we usually, that I learned actually from Mr. Ezra, Mr. Sas Ezra, the Hazan. And maybe it's a tune that you're familiar with that is done following the coffin. So it was the minhag of the community. You're familiar with that? I'll share the screen and I'll send it. If you want to join, you can join me. It's a piyut written by Rabbi Shlomo ibn Gabirol that speaks about how I'll translate some of it. It says, "Shochne bate homer lama tis'u ayin u'motar ha'adam min ha'behema ayin." We live in houses of clay, and how can we be arrogant when we know that we are ephemeral? We eventually all have the same, but basically what remains behind us is our legacy, our teachings, our memories, the families, and like what we've heard. And I have a lot of good memories from them, but it's amazing to hear what everybody's saying. I think like sort of almost honorary family member, right there. So this is the piyut. It goes like that. شوخني باتي حومر لما تسوعين وموت آدم من بماين تشلو نוצרת ועמל לא קצרת וחג גדולות תבקש, ואתה בתוך מוקש, שוכני בתי חומר, למה תישאו עין, ומותר האדם מן הבהמיים, אפק חמלתך, לעמד ופקד עלתך, כי אתה אדוננו, ועליך עינינו. שוכני בתי חומר, למה תישאו עין, ומותר האדם מן הבהמיים. I don't want to sing the whole piyut. very long.
Thank you, Rabbi, for that. We missed that at the funeral. You know, I've been to funerals with Sass, and that is a very cathartic process when he chants that, and we were missing that. So thank you for that.
So maybe we should chant together also the Eshet Hail, because this is the for a woman of valor, and just as you're saying, knitting for everyone, for the family, for neighbors, so that when Char was talking, we saw Carrie showed the knitting needles. I don't know if anybody caught that. Yes. So you're following in our footsteps. So let's read the Eshet Hail. You can join me, even we know that Zoom is not very supportive of people singing together, but it's okay. We're not. It's not a choir. It's just we just read that. I put it on the screen in Hebrew and English. Eshet Hail. הגרה ועוז מותניה, תאמת זרועותיה, טעמה כי טוב שכר, לא יכבה ידיה שלחה בכיתות, כפיה תכופה לך, כפה פרסה לעני, בידיה שלחה לאביון, לא תירא לבית המקדש, ככל ביתה לבוש שנים, מרבדים עשה לה, שבע כמה לבושה, ושערים בעלה, בשבתו, בזקניה, ונעשתה בתמכור, חגור נתנה לכנעני, עוז והבה לבושה, ותשחק לאום אחרון, هي حسد صوفيا הליכות ביתה, לחם עשו רבו בניה וישעוה, בעלה ויללה, ובתמונות עשו חיל, תעתעו חנה, שכר יראת אדוני תתהלל, תנו לה מפרי ידיה, הללויה, בשערי מעשיה. מזמור 23 in Tehillim.
Where's my shepherd? Is she doing the Eshet? Go ahead if she wants. Is she in here? So we read Eshet Hail every Friday night in my house. Naomi reads it quite often. We try to set the children on the path of their ancestors. I would say that the one thing, it's really hard for me to talk about my grandparents because I was so close to them. It was like having a second set of parents. And it's hard to express how good it feels to be loved so unconditionally and so hard by two people all the time, and to not have that anymore. It's really hard. But I would say that they were both master shapers in the sense that they shaped me and they've shaped my children through me. So the list of lessons that my grandparents have taught me is very long. But I would say that I think about it constantly. Whenever I make a cup of tea for my children, I think of my grandmother making me tea. Whenever I hold my child's hand, I think of the way Jojo used to hold my hand. And that is something that will carry on for generations. And so Shabbat is one of those holidays that we get to share every week with one another and the family. And it was really the centerpiece of our family ritual. We never missed a Friday night at Nana's house during my childhood, no matter what was going on. That was a constant. And we try to preserve that in our house. And we've tried to continue with that tradition as best we can. But one of the traditions that we have to honor my grandmother is to read the Eshet Ha'il when we read it in English, so that everyone knows what it means and how great a woman she was. So if it's okay, Naomi's going to read that now in English. Go ahead.
Efficient woman who can find far beyond pearls is her value. Her husband trusts her, and his wealth will therefore not be lacking. She does good for him and not evil all the days of her life. She seeks wool and flax and works with her willing hands. She like merchant ships from afar does she bring her bread. She arises while it is still night and gives food to her household and daily rations to her maids. She makes plans for a field and acquires it, and from her earnings she plants a vineyard. She girds her loins with might and strengthens her arms. Realizing that her merchandise is good, her light is not extinguished at night. She stretches out her hand to the distaff and her palms to hold the spindle. She stretches out her hand to the poor and sends forth her hand to the destitute. She fears not that her household will suffer from snow, for her entire household is dressed in red woolens. She prepares fine bedding for herself, her attire is of fine linen and crimson wool. Her husband is known at the gates when he sits with the elders of the land. She makes cloaks and sells them and gives girdles to the merchants. Her attire is strength and dignity, and she will rejoice on her last day. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and teaching of kindness is on her tongue. She oversees the goings-on of her household and does not eat the bread of laziness. Her children rise to laud her, her husband to praise her, saying, "Many daughters have succeeded, but you've excelled over them all. False is charm and vain is beauty. A God-fearing woman is the one deserving of praise. Give to her from the fruit of her hands her deeds will praise her at the gates." Adonai is like a mighty fortress within which a righteous person may run and be strengthened. For through me your days will increase and years of life will be added on to you. Torah is a tree of life to those who hold on to it, and those who support it are praiseworthy. Its ways are ways of pleasantness, and all paths are peace.
Amen.
Amen.
Do the other grandchildren want to say anything?
Hi, I'm Karen. I'm Hanny's second child, Adam's cousin. And I was thinking that the three ways that the Nana and Jojo have made the biggest impact in my life are the way that they loved each other, the way that they loved their children, and their attachment to their faith and their tradition. And the way that they loved each other has just been such a shining example to all of us. They had two sons who were absolutely exemplary, devoted husbands, just like their father. Uncle Frankie and Uncle Adrian, you're the best. And, my dad, my mom and my dad have such a wonderful relationship. And they have 3 grandchildren, Char, Adam, and Danny, who are also amazing husbands. And that is down to Jojo and the way that he loved my grandmother so much. He was so proud of her and so proud of his love for her. And we all knew it and we could all see it. And the way that they loved their children, oh my God. I've had Kena and Ahara, 10 children. My mom has come and taken care of me with every single birth. She stayed with me for weeks and cooked for me, done the laundry, taking care of all the other children so I could recover. And she did that for my sister and for my sister-in-law. And she does that because her mother did that for her. I remember when I was a little kid, one time I guess I was being naughty when we were there to visit, and Uncle Frankie was scolding me, and he said, you shouldn't mind me scolding you. It's okay for me to do that because I love you like my own child. And when my son was in California at school and he had in an emergency, he needed to see a doctor, it was not a hesitation. I called my Uncle Adrian and he just said, I'm so happy to help. I'm so happy that you called me. I would do anything for you, anything for your children. And that's just the kind of family that they established. That's the kind of love that they taught to their children and their grandchildren. And they've just, the way that they kept true to their faith and their traditions has been such an inspiration to all of us. And I think that those are the main things, like, for me, that they've given us. When Adam was talking about Friday night dinners, I can remember when we would go there, we always knew that we would get to see the whole extended family on Friday nights. And now that
Karen, we're losing you. Karen's in the Poconos. Yeah.
Unbelievably important to all of us.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm grateful for.
I think Karen has lost her connection.
Yeah.
She's in the Poconos. Does another granddaughter, Jeannie?
Yes, I'm here. So many things that everybody knows. Everybody knows my grandparents, and they're very strong people, and they passed that down to us. They passed that down to their children, and they passed that down to us as grandchildren, so we can pass it to our children. So I do have a story that not many people know that I remember fondly, and I've been thinking of these last couple of days of Nana and Jojo, where Jojo used to actually pick me up from school when I was little. And he would take me to go pick up Nana from work. And I would tell him every time, I want to surprise her, so let me hide in the back so I can surprise her. Even though I knew that she knew that I was coming, I still wanted to surprise her. So I would hide in the back of his car and we would pick her up and then I would pop out and she'd be, "Wee, Angie, you're here." And we'd go home and she'd cook for me. And it was just so wonderful and so loving. And I just think of these stories now all the time. And it sucks that they're not here anymore. And I love them very, very dearly.
Do any of the other grandchildren, Jeannie?
Danny's working. Can you guys can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Am I audible? Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to tell a story about a visit we had when we were little. Just something about what it was like to be a child in their house. It was like, it's like they'd been waiting for your visit and for nothing else. They were just so thrilled to have us, and every minute it was like they were having fun and loving that we were there. And I remember there was one visit where I got some kind of a sickness, like a cough or something, and my mom took me to a doctor there, and he prescribed a couple of medications, and I just was feeling worse and worse. And when people would come to visit and they'd want to see us, because we were there from Maryland, and they would want to see us, and I would hide under the beds and I wouldn't want to come out. And Nana and Jojo never scolded me or told me I had to come out, had to meet everybody, any of that. And as I was feeling worse and worse, I kept not wanting to take the medication, and I was crying about it. And my mom, sorry mom, was trying to make me take it because she thought I had to, because I was sick and I had to take this medication. And finally, I remember Jojo saying, "She doesn't want to take it. Stop making her try to take it. If you keep trying to make her take it, I'm gonna throw it out the window," was what he said. And so my mom called the doctor the next day, and it turned out that these two medications they were contraindicated. I shouldn't have been taking them both together. They were making me sick. But I just remember about just being a child in that house, that you were protected, you were believed, and you were so loved. And that story just to be brought together what it was like to be at my grandparents' house when I was little. I just love them and miss them.
Abby? Abby?
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Hi. I think it's very hard for me to talk right now. You're at a funeral, you know how good I hold up. But just two things, not to take away anything away from my own dad or any of my uncles. Hang on. Sorry, there's not a man, not to take away anything from my dad or my uncles, there's not a man that I've respected more in my life than my Uncle Joe. And Auntie Kitty, there was a time many years ago when we were all younger, when Frankie, Adrian and Hanny had already moved out. Frankie was in Davis for a quarter, and Uncle Joe and Auntie Kitty just got Jennifer as a puppy because somebody robbed their house while they were watching TV. And thank God Baruch Hashem, nothing happened to them. But immediately after, because I was here, I used to stop by and take Jennifer, when she was a puppy, to the park and beach and things like that occasionally. And Auntie Kitty was home alone. She would usually give me something to eat. And sorry, it was just those moments alone with my Auntie Kitty that I will cherish forever. We've all shared her and all have wonderful stories. But just those 5 minutes, 10 minutes that we were in the kitchen, I will never forget those times, along with everything else. Thank you.
You know what's amazing to me? I can look at this screen full of people and I can tell who all of my mother's cousins are. Mom, you've got a lot of cousins, and yet I can run through this screen and tell my wife who everyone is, because that house had all of the people in it, right? All the people on this screen were in that house. Whenever I visited, they'd come over. I know so many people in my extended family. It's a big extended family. I know all these people in my extended family because that house was always open to everyone in the family, and everyone took advantage of it and came. And they all my mom's cousins know me and I know them. It's a tribute to Nana and Jojo that's true.
I think it's important to
another thing, if I could just interrupt Frankie for 1 second.
Go ahead.
God, when I first logged in, I thought I was seeing Auntie Kitty, but it was Hanny. What a likeness, I can't even believe. I'm sorry.
No, I just want to say for people that don't know, my mom was one of 10, 12, I'm sorry, 10 girls and 2 boys. And my dad was one of 8, 6 boys and 2 girls. So yes, we have lots of cousins.
So I wanted to join in here, and I have such precious memories from when I was a little child. Our family were our friends, and our friends were our family. And Uncle Joe and Auntie Kitty's house was always the heart of everything. And they always had people, they always had food. And Auntie Kitty seemed like she did everything. She worked, she cooked, and she took care of everybody. And everybody loved her and looked up to her.
Yeah, that house was always full of people, always. And
always.
She was always feeding people. I can remember when Frankie she would come home from the grocery store with bags of groceries, and Frankie's friends would literally be eating the food out of the bags, not even waiting until it got put away. Because
yeah, what they used to love was she used to make a brisket, and it was usually on Saturday, or we'd have a brisket off, or no, it was almost weekly. And then she would make sandwiches with the sourdough bread, and it was basically a very thin layer of mayonnaise and a very thin bit of lettuce in this sandwich. And I'll tell you, I've never been able to duplicate it.
No.
It was just an amazing taste. And she would wrap them in this, a saran wrap. And, they get up in the morning and all the sandwiches were gone. Because my friends were over and they would just knock them out. And it was something else. Yeah. I think Naomi wanted to say something.
I love those brisket sandwiches too. I'll never forget them in
Yeah,
my
they're
entire
unbelievable.
life. The best.
They were unbelievable.
Yeah, we
The food was
at the drive-in.
you cannot duplicate. cannot duplicate her food. It was just tremendous, super, just out of this world. So my brother was right, my sister was right. They always had food for everybody, made sure everybody was fed. It was just amazing. She was an amazing woman. Amazing. I've never come across anyone like that in my life. I never will. It's what she did and all that she did for everybody and the love that she had for everybody, along with all the hard work and everything. It's amazing. It's not going to be duplicated. No way. No way.
Was there somebody else who wanted to say it?
Yeah, Naomi wanted to say a little bit.
As my great-grandparents, Nan and Jojo, were very special to me. Whenever we went over to their house, they always greeted me with hugs and kisses every time. We used to sit on the couch and I would just snuggle with her pretty much the whole time. And whenever we came over for Shabbat, I used to watch her cook for all of us. And sometimes I used to help her set the table. And my sisters and I would always fight over who was sitting next to Nan and Jojo. They were so kind to me. I will never forget the moments that we had together. Thank you.
I'd like to say something. I don't know if I'm on mute still. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Hannah.
Yeah. Anyway, my mother was Uncle Joe's sister, and we came to California. It was in '69. I did, and I had all of a sudden, all these uncles and aunts and cousins that we never grew up with you guys. So it was very, very special, and we felt really very much loved also, and included in weddings and parties and bar mitzvahs and whatever. And your dad, Uncle Joe, was always telling stories about my mom and how they used to tease her, and she would get her and Uncle Solly into trouble. And he just loved telling these stories, and I just love listening to them because obviously it was before I was even around. But anyway, I loved Joe and Kitty very much. I loved going to visit them, and I really missed it when COVID came and couldn't go anymore. My sister Tova, she was amazing. She'd go all the time. I live a little further away, so I didn't go as often, but always felt welcome, always felt loved. And for being that they didn't really know me till I was an adult, it was just very special. And the other thing is, there's one other thing is that they're the end of an era. Uncle Joe was the last brother of, my mother's siblings out of 8. And I joked around with him one time. This was after Uncle Solly passed away, and he took it in such good humor. I said, Uncle, you're the last man standing. He said, yeah, I'm the last man standing. And he was so proud of it because look at that, he was the last one. And may they rest in peace. Beautiful, lovely people, very touching listening to the family and the extended family. And maybe we'll meet on happier occasions and get to hug each other and love each other again. So I miss that. Anyway, thank you. And God bless.
Thank you.
May they rest in peace. Thank you. For my family too, my brothers and sisters, I'm sure they all feel the same way. Thank you.
May they rest in peace and may God watch over them. That's it was very special to have known them.
Okay. You want to say something?
Very emotional.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for coming into the Zoom Shiva today. It's a first for me. I'm probably a first for a lot of people to do a Shiva and to do a week of Shiva the way we're doing it right now. Because normally we'd have people at the house and there'd be food and people would sit in circles and talk, and we do the prayers in the house. And I think I miss that. I know I went through it when my grandmother, my dad's mother, passed away, and it actually kind of relieves the pain, I think, having everybody so close and so near you. And I think that's what made it difficult. It made it difficult for them at the end in the hospital. And now, I think the pandemic has also made it a little difficult, but it's also added because I think we've learned new things of how to stay in touch. I think if we can continue doing this, we can have both. God willing, when this pandemic is over, we can actually FaceTime more and be with each other more. I'm just hoping for that. I miss my parents, and I'm sure I will miss them for a long time. They've created a family and a culture with us that I think will live on for generations. I can see it in my grandchildren. I know how they behave with each other. I watch my son with his children, and you can tell he is my father's grandson. It's easy to see that. So anyway, I just want to thank you all for being here today. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. If there's anybody else that wants to add anything, please go ahead.
Adam?
I just want to say thank you, Rabbi Ovadia, for hosting this, for supporting our family throughout the years as you've done. My grandparents loved you and your family, Edna, and all your children very much. And it means so much to me and the rest of the family that you supported us through these difficult times and allowed us to do this tonight. So thank you again. And thank you everyone for joining and your support, not only this evening, but all week. We really appreciated it and felt it. So thank you.
Nana has one thing she wants to add.
I wanted to add, and before we go,
I just very quickly wanted to say I'm a longtime friend of Adam and Aaron's, and I can't thank you enough for inviting me tonight.
Thanks, Gary. Thanks, Gary. Even a close friend. I know my mother loved you. She loved you coming over for Shabbat dinner every now and then, and she talked about you. So thanks, Gary. Thanks for that.
Yes. I just want to thank everybody for all their support and their love over the years and how much they cared for her. And I could see it, and I've seen it over the years. Thank you so very much for all your love and kindness and support. And I know my parents would, they would be very grateful for all that you people have done. And thank you so much for participating in this. And I'm sure my parents would have been very, very glad. I thank you.
One other thing that I will always cherish is whenever that we would walk into Nana and JoJo's door, she would say, "Wee, darling," and call me her little munchkin. That's something that I will never forget.
I'm so glad that you were able to move to California and be closer to them in those last couple of years. And I wanted to add that, first of all, the pasuk from Micha, the end of the book of Micah 6:8 comes to my mind. יגיד לך אדם מה טוב ומה אדוני אלוהיך דורש מעמך כי מעשות משפט ואהבת חסד והצנע לכת עם אלוהיך. If one asks you, what is it that God wants of you? It is asot mishpat, do justice, avat chesed, loving kindness, v'atznei alechet im Elohecha, and walk humbly with God. And I think that really they both exemplify those concepts. Joe, I remember him from board meetings, from discussions, and in his family, like Frankie and Frank and Adam, the doing the right thing, and I'm sure everybody know that it reverberates to the family, doing the right thing, standing for justice, loving kindness, and helping others under all circumstances. But with all that, walking humbly with God, not wearing your religion on your sleeve, not doing fanfare. Not look at me. So thank you everybody for Adam. Thank you and Aaron and Susie and the whole family for bringing me in when I was there, and we went through very happy occasions and difficult occasions, and may the family always be united in Samahot. Amen. I wanted another very, very important lesson that I take from it, and I think it was amazing to hear it tonight. Towards the end of the book of Kohelet, Ecclesiastes, the author says, Tov lechet el beta avel milechet el beta mishteh v'achai tene libo. It is better to go to the house of mourning than to the house of festivities. That sounds strange, but the author doesn't want us to be depressed. He continues, it is better to go there because this is when we take to heart and we think of what is our place in the world and what we do in order to make this world a better place. So I want to say this, as a rabbi, as an educator, and as a counselor, I've worked with a lot of people, and you should know that this kind of unconditional love that you're describing is very rare and should not be taken for granted. It is so hard. I've been telling people, I'm trying to teach them that. Love your children, love people around you. It is so easy to give it, but maybe because people know how precious it is, some people are very stingy with it. So to find people who are so generous with their love, it is so important to be loved. And for all those of you who spoke about that love that you felt, I know that you're giving it forward, that you love others around you, and that's creating a tremendous island of positivity in the world that we really need very badly. So just keep doing that, spreading the love. I think we'll conclude with Mizmor David, Psalm 23, that I read in Hebrew, and anyone can join me both in Hebrew and in English, even though the translation on the screen is probably not the one that you're familiar with. So it's fine because there are different translations. And then we'll say Kaddish and the Ashkava, the Ashraish. Yes. And if anyone wants to talk more, feel free to say that. I don't want to stop anyone. Joe, so you wanted to say? Yeah. Okay, so I'll start with the Mizmor David, and we'll say it in our traditional tune. מזמור לדוד, אדוני רועי לא יחסר, בינות דשא ירביצני, עלבי מנוחות ינעלני, נפשי ישובב, הנחני במעגלי צדק, למען שמו, גם כי אלך בגץ על מוות, לא ירא רע, כי אתה עמדי, שבטך ומשענתך, המה ינחמוני, תערוך לפני שולחן, נגד צוררי, ישנת בשמן ראשי, כוסי רוויה, אך טוב החסד, ירדפוני כל ימי חיי, ושבתי בבית אדוני לאורך ימים. The Psalm of David. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He guides me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You have prepared a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Amen.
Amen.
Let us rise, those who say Kaddish. Let's rise and say Kaddish. Let me just put it on the screen.
Yikadali Kadash Rabbi. Alma Divara,
Kirte,
Be'amli,
Malhute,
Mafu,
Shriyaye,
Chaye,
Om,
Yom
Divuchon, Yaye, Omba,
Israel,
Israel, Shiva, Emru, Amen. Shemei Rabab, Bim Rabba,
Yitbarach,
Yishbara, Yishbara, Bahit, Yisay, Bahit Asa, Yipalal, Shnei Busha, Bemru,
All Yisrael, Ramanan, Val Tamidehon, Gal Kol Tamidehon, Daiskim, Be'araita, Kadisha, Di, Be'arat, Trabe, Ade, Yate, Becho, Atar, Be'atar, Behe, Lan, Ho, Hine, Hasda, Haram, Min, Karam, Mare, Shamaya, Be'ara, Be'ru, Amen, Shema, Shemaya, Hayim, Besaba, Beshua, Benehama, Beshezaba, Ufa, Ugula, Uslicha, Bekabara, Reva, Hatzala, Lanu, Ho, Amo Yisrael, Amen, Yahweh, Shalom, Yirama, Guru, Brahma,
Say Shalom, Oh, Israel, Bemeru, Amen.
Adonai HaMevorach.
Adonai Barak Olam
Bayed.
רוצה ההשכבה, אשרי איש ירד אדוני במצוותיו חפץ מאוד, המרחם על כל בריותיו, ויחוז ויחמוד וירחם על נפש רוח ונשמה, של האיש המורחם הכשר שנפטר בשעתו מן העולם בשיבה טובה, מרוחם יוסף בן אהרון ששון. רוח אדוני תניחנו בגן עדן, הוא וכל בן ישראל השוכבים עמו, חל החיים והסליחות וכן יהי רצון, ונאמר אמן. אשת חיל נמצא ורחוק בן ימיך מרחם עקוב את אבו יחוס ויחמוד וירחם על נפש רוח ונשמה של האישה המורחמת הכשרה שנפטרה בשעתו מן העולם בשיבה טובה, חתון
בצלחה. רוח אדוני תנהל בין גן עדן.
וכל בנות ישראל שוכבות עמך בחל החיים והסליחות וכן יהי רצון, ונאמר אמן.
Amen.
We know the peace will be Melit Yosher. They will always be connected to the family. I'm sure you're going to share many more with this wonderful family. Many summers together, and they're not here, but in spirit, in soul, in neshama, they live in the way that everybody spoke tonight. In your actions, in your children, in the future that you're going to bring to the world. B'ezrat Hashem.
Amen. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.